any members of the public who would like to provide comments?
I don't see any hands raised, no.
All right. Seeing no speakers, I'll ask the council if anyone would like to make a motion with regard to the consent calendar.
I move that we accept calendar items A through I.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Would the city clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Haskew,
Aye.
Councilmember Silva,
Aye.
Councilmember Darling,
Aye.
Mayor Wilk.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Next on the agenda is public communications. And this portion of the meeting is reserved for comment on items not on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the council cannot act on items raised during public communications, but may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed, request clarification, or refer the item to staff. Consistent with Section 9.5 of the City Council Handbook, 30 minutes will be allocated at this time for public communications for items not on the agenda. Additional time for public communications for items not on the agenda will be provided at the end of the meeting if necessary. Does any member of the public wish to provide public comments at this time? Please use the raised hand feature or press *9 if you're connected by audio only if you'd like to provide a public comment. For those who desire to provide public comments on an item not on the agenda, please raise your hand now so we can identify the total number of speakers that desire to speak at this time. As a reminder, each speaker will have 2 minutes to make their oral remarks. The Zoom feed for each speaker will cut off automatically at 2 minutes. Written comments submitted have been posted to the city's website for public review and are included in the meeting record, but will not be separately read into the record. And at this time, I'll note that the time is 6:15, and we'll take public comments on items not on the agenda until approximately 6:45. And then the remainder of any such comments at the end of the open session portion of the meeting. So, City Clerk, are there any members of the public who would like to provide comments?
We have one speaker, Pete Bennett. I'll go ahead and move him over.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm playing something. You know what's funny about this? This is the only instrument that's never been stolen from me in the last 10 years because it belongs to you guys. Guitars, pianos, cars, all of them. Such a mystery as to what happened to everything. Can't get answers. Hey, they put me on disability. You guys are okay now. I've had so much going on medically that they put me on disability today. My health is tanking. So I come down here and play piano and I make tip money in the little jar. That's all I have left, your piano in my hands and my broken car. And litigation's impossible in this county. You know what happens, right? You've heard the stories already. People are nice enough to give me tips, though. Works out pretty good some days when the nice people show up.
Thank you, Pete. Any more speakers?
I don't see any additional hands raised.
All right, well then we will close the public comment portion and move on to our next item, which is council member and staff announcements, reports on activities, or requests. Do we have any closed session announcements?
Mr. Mayor, there were no reportable actions from closed session this evening.
All right, then city manager report.
Yes, good evening, Dan Buckshire, City Manager, and as my role as Emergency Services Director, I'd like to provide an update regarding a new health order that was issued by Contra Costa's Public Health Officer today. It does take effect tomorrow, and as of tomorrow at 8 a.m., patrons of restaurants, bars, gyms, and other certain facilities that are noted in the order patrons must show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test from the past 3 days. So this is similar to what the county and city of San Francisco did not too long ago. Contra Costa is now implementing effectively immediately as of tomorrow morning. And I just wanted to share a little bit of the rationale that was noted in the order for why they're taking this measure. Even though vaccination rates have improved considerably, what we are seeing is that case rates are as high as they were in February of 2021 at this point in time. In the week of August 25th through the 31st, there were 15 COVID deaths in Contra Costa County. And in the week of September 1st to September 9th, so just last week, there were 20 deaths. And these were the highest 7-day total since March. And in addition, 96% of the deaths thus far in Contra Costa County are unvaccinated individuals. So there's obviously a strong push, particularly with the FDA full approval of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine, to have folks vaccinated, as it is proving, the science is proving that is the most effective method towards addressing and hopefully eventually defeating COVID. So I wanted to share that. For anybody who may be listening, at this point in time, I don't have much additional information. This just came out a few hours ago. We're reviewing it. I'm sure we will receive numerous questions from many of our business owners about what's required in terms of how to implement this, how to enforce it, and whatnot, and more information will be forthcoming in the next few days.
Do we have somebody that works with Walnut Creek downtown to help to get that message out too?
Yes, we have a close connection with Walnut Creek downtown to share not only with the downtown restaurants, but also with the chamber through for all businesses, not only downtown, but throughout the entire city.
Thank you. Yep.
Is this applicable both to, obviously it's for indoor, but is it also applicable to patrons if they might be in outdoor dining?
I'm not completely certain of the answer to that question. That's one that I'm still looking into to verify. It is absolutely applicable to folks that are indoors.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? All right. Thank you. Why don't, so next we've got city council member comments and other items that they have been working on and activities. Why don't we start with Councilmember Silva?
Thank you very much. It seems like we haven't been here in a while, and actually we haven't been here in 6 weeks.
The Olympics were on.
The Olympics.
That's
were
how
on.
long it's been.
Yes, exactly. I would mention that we were traveling for a number of weeks, and one of the things I noted in places that I didn't expect were public art on downtown streets in small cities in Wyoming, like 3 to 4 pieces per block on both sides of the street. So it was really a pleasant surprise. Also, some vertical urban gardens that were being used as outdoor dining separators, and the beets and the tomatoes were growing vertically in the dividers. So it was very interesting. And my other comment this evening would be that Community Service Day is set for Saturday, October 9th. It is a modified, limited number of projects, 18 outdoor-only projects, parks, schools, some gardens, and then a very robust, multifaceted food drive in neighborhoods in front of grocery stores at Rossmore and online virtually. So if you want more information, you'd like to volunteer, or if you'd like to make a donation to the virtual food drive, go to walnut-creek.org. So that's the city website, and click on the banner as it goes by for Community Service Day at the top of the homepage. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Haskew.
Contra Costa, there were 2 Contra Costa Mayors Conferences, it seems to me, since our last meeting. I can only remember what the topic was on one, but for the other one, Councilmember Silva was reelected as the EBRICS representative. which has to do with emergency radios and working together, and we're lucky that we have that system in our county. The one I had before that was a review of the mental health programs that we hope that the county will be supporting through the Measure X system. I went to the Diablo Regional Arts Board meeting along with Kevin Safine, our Arts and Recreation Director, and we got an update on some programming and especially the headliner show. They reminded us on Broadway, which is their annual celebration of and fundraiser, is coming up on October. There's some good things starting to happen in the theater, and we are excited to look forward to a robust season. Our chief was sworn in and also has been around and about talking to people and letting people get to know him. Thank you for doing that, Chief. Contra Costa Transportation Planning Commission looked at Vision Zero, a draft plan. Vision Zero is an idea that through engineering and enforcement, we are aiming to get accidents and fatalities down to zero. It may be a lofty goal, but we're willing to try, and we should improve it. So look forward to that. Tomorrow is the Contra Costa Transportation Real Committee, where I get to vote on that very same thing one more time. I have a CalCog meeting on Friday. I want to remind everybody that Art and Bloom is at Heather Farm Gardens at 4 o'clock on Saturday. And let's see, I did have one more notice. California Symphony is having their opening concert in the next week. So lots of things yet again happening in Walnut Creek, and many of them are designed to make people happy.
Thanks, Luella. Councilmember Darling.
Thank you. Couple things, since in the long time since we've met. The MCE Executive Committee got together, got the results of our audit, which was clean, and also talked with staff about ways to continue to push the aid to people that are having a difficult time with their utility bills. And they've come up with some proposals, and they're implementing those to make sure that people that are having a hard time, as we come out of the eviction moratorium, that people are reaching out and getting the help they need. I participated in that from Hawaii, and I also participated in the homeless task force from Hawaii. I got to show them with my Zoom background out the window in Maui. The homeless task force was a great meeting. One of the things that people are struggling with is that there is several people notice that there's an uptick in the number of homeless showing up in Walnut Creek. But our Walnut Creek Police Department HOP team is back out on the streets again. And the core team, the 2 members that we hired full-time for the city and they're working in partnership to try to make sure that they get services offered to as many of the people as they can find. And so while the uptick was troubling, I think they've got it under control. They are going to have a homeless forum later this fall. I'll bring the information on that next time, but it's a good chance for people who have questions. I know a lot of people always want to know, what are we doing? What can I do to help? So that forum will be later this fall, and it'll be a Zoom forum so everybody can participate. I got to go to the groundbreaking for the Habitat for Humanity project, Esperanza Plaza, and I'll let Mayor Wilk talk a bit more about that because he and I were both there, and he did a great job representing us. Got to go to the Chief's open house, and that was a lot of fun. I think it was great to let the community come and meet the chief. I've been impressed, and I've gotten a number of emails from people in the community who he has reached out and touched in different ways, and I think that's very well appreciated. And last but not least, the chamber this morning, the Business Affairs Committee had water on the committee agenda, so of course I had to sit in on that one, and I think several of us were on there today. When we met last time, I talked about how lucky we are to have East Bay Mud and Contra Costa who have gone the extra mile to invest in infrastructure. And both Ernie Avila and John Coleman this morning talked about the other thing that has really changed in water between those two agencies. I can remember a time about 15 or 20 years ago, you could not get those two agencies. We used to have a map of the Balkan states that we would put up when we talk about the Bay Area water agencies, because that's how bad it was. And with the change in general managers, they have done an excellent job, and the efforts that they're making right now to sign on to an MOU on the Expand Los Vaqueros project. It might be 20 years after that project was initially approved by the state, but it's a good sign that they're going to work together and come up with solutions so that we're continuing to drought-proof the Bay Area. And that's it.
Hey, thank you, Cindy. Yeah, we do have some terrific district representatives for our different water districts. Well, so since our last meeting as well, we have had one diversity, equity, inclusivity task force, and that's one of our priorities as a city council. We have our third meeting tomorrow. And at this point, we're still finalizing the mission and vision statements with a set of action items to come out shortly. And I'll give an update of that next week when we meet here in City Council. Volunteers are back to working at the police station, VIPs as they're called. And I was there when we welcomed the VIPs again last week. And if you're interested in volunteering in the police department, please check on their website on how to submit a volunteer application. Over the last couple of years, several VIPs, since they weren't in person, they ended up leaving the program, so I know that the police department would love to have more volunteers on that. We are also at the opening of the new Vets and Pet Center at ARF. I was there with Councilmember Haskell and Councilmember Silva, and really on training, this center is designed to train pets on how to be companions for vets. It's a great program, and the building is now open for business. I'm a director on the County Connection Board, and the County Connection announced, along with almost every transit agency in our area, that a free ride program started September 1st for the entire month. This also includes nearby bus service like AC Transit, and BART is offering 50% off on Clipper cards for the month. So it's safe to travel on public transit. Come on back. You're going to get great deals this month. As Councilmember Darling had mentioned, we had the Esperanza Place groundbreaking for Habitats for Humanity last Friday. It's near the Pleasant Hill City Center BART station. 42 affordable houses for low and moderate income families. And this is just a terrific project, and we look forward to seeing this come to fruition over the next, I think the first phase opens in about 18 months, and the next phase about a year and a half after that. So this is a way for people to be able to live in Walnut Creek and not have to have that hour-and-a-half commute for people like teachers and people that work in retail and those people that they have jobs and they just aren't able to come up to the level of income that's needed for these market rate housing now. So it's a terrific project. I'm glad to see it come around. I also attended the Confire Memorial at Contra Costa Fire Department on September 11th in tribute to fallen firemen. It's really a moving tribute to our frontline workers who they're running into burning buildings to save people while the rest of us are escaping them. And if anybody ever has a chance to go to these, and certainly the public's always included in this, and 9/11, there's always many of them around the county, I really encourage people to go. It's just truly inspiring. And I want to take a quick minute to talk about, lastly, traffic safety. The kids are back in school. And we're seeing this as parents are trying to rush to get their kids to school. We're seeing more traffic on the roads just in terms of commute times, especially around 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And other people are finding that because of this, they might be pushing the time and they're getting a little late themselves. And patients can get tested. But we've seen two terrible accidents in the last 2 weeks, one in Walnut Creek, one in Lafayette. And where in Lafayette, a crossing guard was actually hit and tragically killed in front of Stanley Middle School. I ask everybody to please give yourself an extra few minutes if you're dropping kids off or if you're commuting at that time. Pay attention to the road. Don't get distracted. One distracted moment can lead to a disaster. And just be patient on the road and understand that everyone is getting used to the increased traffic again in the mornings and in the earlier afternoons, and that we haven't seen in a year and a half. So on that note, keep an eye out for traffic and transportation meetings coming to your neighborhood in the months ahead. And we had one such meeting yesterday, actually, for the Homestead Walnut Boulevard neighborhoods, and more will be announced soon. So please take that extra minute, be safe, don't be distracted, and we'll get back onto a normal footing soon enough. And those are my comments. And if,
Mr. Mayor, if I could offer up one additional comment, I want to offer a correction to what I stated earlier about the county health order. Apparently, I wasn't wearing my glasses because they fog up and I couldn't read my own writing. The health order takes effect September 22nd, not tomorrow.
Okay.
So a week from tomorrow.
all right, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And with that, I believe we are adjourned from our special meeting, and we'll see all of you next Tuesday night for a regularly scheduled city council meeting, which will have a full agenda. Thank you.